Hi, I'm Shoestring Jane. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things thrifty, frugal and money saving. And today I thought I would talk about wasting money and why you shouldn't do it and how you can avoid doing it. Some of it you might think is common sense, and really most of it probably is, but it's still a case that people waste a lot of money just through not spending just a little bit of time to get organised. And there's something that I've learned about money over the years, which is that it really doesn't matter how much you earn if you don't manage your money properly. So if you waste it, if you spend excessively, and you just don't kind of budget, then earning more money won't compensate for that poor money management or those wasteful habits. I mean, we've all seen the pop stars and champion footballers or the lottery winners who end up going bankrupt or, really getting themselves into trouble. Or maybe they're rich, in the case of lottery winners, for a few years, and then they've got nothing left because they haven't understood about money, and that you can have plenty of money. It doesn't last forever if you don't look after it properly. We've all seen those examples. But on the other side of that coin, you can earn very little and be completely debt-free and even start to build a bit of wealth and perhaps invest through managing your money really carefully and by prioritising your spending. My youngest daughter's a good example of this. She doesn't earn a lot of money, but she's already investing. I recently heard about somebody, and this is kind of the thing that made me think about doing this video really. I heard about someone who was really, really well off, but seriously struggling with money because their approach to it and life generally was completely chaotic. So they were so busy that they couldn't stop and just do things like, sort out the bills and make sure that they had direct debits set up and that sort of thing, and then didn't pay the electricity bill and were going to get cut off and were forced to have a prepayment meter, which is just mad because you pay more for a prepayment meter. It's not something that you should want to do because it's much easier just to set up a direct debit, really. So this was someone who was really, really well off in a beautiful house, but on a prepayment meter. And then they were too busy to make a passport application in time. So instead of, I think it cost £87, I did mine recently. Instead of paying 80 something to get their passport renewed, they had to pay hundreds because they had to go and book an appointment to get it done as an emergency at the passport office. So obviously, that was such a waste of money. So just taking time out can stop you wasting money. And people will say, well, I don't have spare time. I don't have time for that. I say everyone has a little bit of spare time. What about the time you spend watching TV in the evening? I'm not saying you can never watch TV in the evening. I'm just saying have a couple of evenings to say, I'm going to turn the TV off tonight and I am going to sit and organise my money. Or scrolling through social media. It's so easy to do that. I do it myself. I have to stop myself looking at Instagram sometimes. And it's fine. It just eats up your time. And if you need that time for something else, then, that's the sort of thing you can cut just for a couple of weeks, a couple of days maybe, so that you can make getting your finances in order a top priority, because getting organised with money will stop you getting into debt and reduce some of the anxiety in your life. It's horrible being in debt. And I am definitely not perfect when it comes to this. And I recently wasted £60, and I'll tell you how I did that. It's an example of how I totally wasted money. I went and visited my favourite charity shop. It doesn't have parking. The only parking is in the local co-op shop. I know that you can't park there unless you're a customer. There are signs all over the place. Usually, I do just happen to go into the co-op or I go to their cash point, and I've never had a problem before. I didn't plan for that this time. I just didn't think about it. I parked in the car park and I got a ticket. So I thought about arguing it, and then I thought, no, you did it. Pay the fine. There's no point in spending lots of time trying to argue a fine when I'm on camera having parked there and walked away from the co-op. And so, it's a fair cop gov. So you live and learn, don't you? So I wasted £60. Anything I saved by buying bargains in the charity shop was wasted. So here are a few of my ideas anyway to stop wasting money. So number one, automate everything. Set up direct debits for all of your bills, for all of your savings. Hopefully you do have a savings pot or an emergency pot. And you don't have to think about it. Set up direct debits. It will just take you a few phone calls. You're normally offered the opportunity when you sign up with different companies to set up a direct debit. Just do it. And if you haven't done that already, get onto your suppliers and set up a direct debit. I do it for anything, even if it's just a few pounds more. I even do it for my car tax because it's such a big chunk to pay off in one go, and it doesn't barely cost anything more to pay it monthly. So it's all done. Council tax, everything. I don't have to worry about it. It all just gets paid. I have money going to savings pots as well. As soon as first of the month comes, that money is all just done, and anything that's left over is what I can spend. Number two, don't just auto-renew things like insurances, car breakdown cover and that kind of thing. They will always send you an email now. They have to. They used to just sneakily auto-renew you, but they're not allowed to do that anymore. So they all go up, especially at the moment. Everything is going up. So it's really worth, when you get that renewal reminder, just take a few minutes to shop around and get a better deal. You literally have to just go onto a comparison site. You can just do it that way. That's the quickest way to do it. Or have a look on places like moneysavingexpert.com and see if they've got any particularly good deals that they recommend at the moment. And then go back to your current provider, ask them to match the price. That's quicker than actually changing everything over, and quite often they will match the price, and if they won't, then move. Number three, set goals for your money. If you've got clear goals, you can remind yourself of them, and it gives you an incentive and it motivates you, so you won't waste money. So, for example, you might be saving to retire early. You might be trying to pay off your mortgage. Maybe you're trying to pay down some debts. Maybe you want to invest. Maybe you want to pay more into your pension, or maybe you're saving to buy a house or get married, or just want to travel the world. So cutting all your costs so you can save up to do that. Whatever your goal is, setting goals can really motivate you. Number four, write a monthly budget. It's really boring writing a monthly budget, but it really doesn't take very long. You could do it in half an hour. And it also gives the opportunity to cut out anything that you pay for but you don't really use, or maybe you do use it but you can't really afford it anymore. So there are so many things you can get subscriptions for now. It used to just be the gym memberships, but now you've got magazines and food subscription boxes, so many of those that we are tempted into with a month free or 2 months or 3 months free or cheap. And then we forget to cancel them and we end up with these monthly food boxes. And the other thing one of my daughters used to do is a beauty box full of makeup. And I think, well, how much makeup do you need? And you're not even choosing this makeup, it's being chosen for you. So half of it you may not even want or use. And the other thing you can get as well is craft supplies as well on subscription now, or craft magazines. So unless you're really going to use them, you can cut those things as part of your budgeting, and you can have a look and think, well, do I pay too much for, I don't know, my phone or whatever? You can have a look and maybe have a shop around. So it's really worth writing a monthly budget, setting yourself a certain amount for groceries, a certain amount for going out, a certain amount for clothing, those kind of things. And then you've got control over your money, and it's just so much easier. Number five is think like your grandma. Think about the habits that past generations had to nurture and develop to get through times like the Second World War and the Great Depression, where they just didn't waste anything. They couldn't waste anything. It would inspire you if you kind of develop that make, do, amend, waste not, want not attitude of past generations. I actually wrote a book kind of on this theme. Some of you may already be aware of this one. It's called Extreme Frugality, Save Money Like Your Grandma. And it's kind of inspired. It's not entirely about what our great-grandparents and grandparents did, but, it's inspired by those kind of attitudes. So you can get that from Amazon. And number 6 on my list is to look at your food cupboards and what you've got before you go shopping. Write a menu plan. I always write a weekly meal plan, so I know what I'm eating each night, what I'm going to be cooking, and when I have time for something involved and when I need something really quick, and I'll use up, what we've got already. So Write a meal plan, write a shopping list from that, and then you will not waste money. You won't waste money and buy too much food and then waste the food. So you'll only buy what you need. That will prevent a lot of waste. And number 7, don't be a brand snob. Some people are absolutely convinced that a certain type of, I don't know, baked beans taste so much better than something else. And does it really? And this is really fine to be that fussy if you can afford it. But if you're trying to stop wasting money, I would say don't be a brand snob. Understand that developing a brand and an image to go with that brand, whether it is for baked beans or whether it's for trainers or clothing or perfume or whatever it is, it costs a lot of money. The whole marketing teams are employed, PR companies, TV adverts, magazine adverts. It costs a lot of money. Even just developing the packaging and the way it looks, it all costs money. So as my dad would say, you're paying for the name. And if you want to pay less for things and waste less money, it pays to just consider maybe trading down slightly. Maybe you would go down to supermarket own brand of a certain product, or even some of the value brands. You could, just depends how much you need to shave off your budget. But maybe you could buy second-hand trainers if you really want those brands. But if you need to not waste money anymore, then it's really worth considering forgetting about those brands and not being a brand snob. And number 8, if you're an impulsive shopper, and a lot of us are, we may be emotional shoppers, or we shop when we're bored, there are strategies that you can use to help you stop. Having a goal, as I mentioned already, really, really keeps you motivated not to spend. Unsubscribing from newsletters. When you buy something online, they auto-subscribe you to a newsletter usually, unless you choose to untick a box or tick a box so you don't want it. You have to really, really look because they're all different. And then you get blasted with special offers and that kind of thing. And then you get special money off for maybe installing the app for a particular store. And then it's just there. So just delete all of those things if you want to avoid temptation. And the other thing to avoid temptation is don't be tempted to go window shopping and go shopping for fun, because window shopping, whenever you ever gone window shopping and not gone in the shop, and the chances are once you're in the shop you are going to buy something. And if you don't want to waste money, you don't want to overspend, those are habits worth getting into. And number 9 is to shop from home. And I don't mean shop online from home. It's a good way to curb your shopping impulses, and that is to look at what you have already and use it. So we've all got cupboards crammed full of stuff that we've bought and either no longer use or never used in the first place. And if you have a good clear out, you can see what you've got, start to use it, and it will stop you buying more stuff. So it's almost like going shopping. It's actually quite fun once you get into it. So you could read those books that are sitting on your bookshelf, eat the food shoved at the back of your cupboard, get yourself a challenge to try and meal plan with that, I don't know, a jar of something obscure that you might have at the back of your cupboards. See if you can build it into your meal plan. Wear the clothes. I buy clothes secondhand, but quite often they've got tags on them still. So they're impulse purchases that someone has bought and never ever worn. So start to wear those clothes. And if you can't wear them, sell them. You can sell them on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or Vinted, so you get the money back. If you've got a cupboard full of craft supplies, and I know lots of crafters and they all do this, they have so much stuff. They start projects and don't finish them and that kind of thing. Dig them out and use them. And we all start the year saying, I'm going to get fit and I'm going to buy an exercise bike, or I'm going to buy an actual bike, or I'm going to get exercise equipment, and we don't use them. Get them out and use them. Go on a bike ride. What's the point of having a bike gathering dust in your garage or your shed? And then you could use old paint and upcycle your furniture rather than getting rid of the furniture and buying more, or forgetting you've got the paint and actually it goes kind of hard and crusty in the shed and the garage. So I have been definitely guilty of doing that in the past, but I do a lot of upcycling. I upcycled this dresser behind me the other week. So it's really worth upcycling what you've got so you don't have to buy more. Plus, it gives you things to do. You know, all of these things provide a bit of entertainment, and it's basically free entertainment. You've paid for those things a long time ago, so you don't have to spend more money when you're bored. Number 10, so when you're really feeling the pinch, pack food to take out with you. Take a flask with you, take some drinks with you. So that applies whether you're going for a day out, whether you are going to the supermarket. I tend to always have my water container with me, so I don't think, oh, I must get a coffee, I'm really thirsty. Or whether you're going to work, you know, these things all add up. If you buy lunch out every day, if you buy coffee out every day, and you're on a really tight budget, you'll spend money that you don't really have, so you're basically wasting money. And similarly, rather than getting takeouts all the time, eat at home, cook for yourself. Even if you buy a ready-made curry to go in the microwave, just to have in your freezer, it's going to be cheaper than getting a takeaway on those nights that you just fancy a curry or you just can't be bothered to cook. And we all have those nights, don't we? Number 11. Use free resources. So the obvious one is your local library, and I always say support the libraries because we will miss them if they all get closed down because we don't use them. They cost a lot to run and councils are cash strapped, so you know they're always looking to cut things like your libraries. You can get books for free. I love the audio books. I listen to a lot of those, and I get the BorrowBox app through my library. Just had to put my library card in. That's brilliant. I think that's really good. If you've got children, see if you've got a toy library in your area. We used to have one when mine were little, and later on when I was a childminder for a while as well, we'd go to the toy library. The kids loved it, and they could choose a couple of toys to take home. It's particularly good for garden toys, you know, big toys you can put in the garden, like slides and paddling pools and things like that. You might not have room for those all the time, and you know your kids are going to grow out of them really quickly and they're expensive. So you know, you could do that. Have a swap, you know, free resources. You could swap out with some of your friends. Maybe they've got older or younger children, or maybe they've also got a shelf full of books and, you know, you want to swap around. You know, you could do that. Use resources you've already got. And number 12, so this is probably should have put this as number 1. Get into the habit of questioning every purchase. So do you think about, do I really, really want this thing? Whatever you're tempted to buy, do I really want it? Do I really need it? What would happen if I didn't buy it? Am I going to really regret not buying it? Or can I do something more worthwhile with my money? And I find that a lot, things I think, oh, I really like that. And sometimes I just will put it to one side and leave it. Sometimes I'll put them in a shopping basket online and leave them there. And then you leave them there for a couple of days and you come back to them. It's an old trick, but it does really work. I quite often then don't want it. You know, the impulse to buy whatever gadget or gizmo it was has passed. And maybe I could put the money towards one of my financial goals instead. So question all of your purchases. And if you get into the habit of doing that, you'll just buy a lot less. Once you get into the headspace, there are really loads of ways you can stop wasting money. And, you know, it's not about being mean or miserly. It's about just not wasting the money that you have had to use your energy and your time to earn in the first place. Why waste it? And the less money you waste, maybe the less you'll need to earn in the first place. So perhaps you can reduce your working hours or do less overtime and that kind of thing. Maybe you can spend more time with your family or your friends. So it's really worth considering. We all waste money here and there. If you really, really start thinking about it, you'll probably find you can save quite a lot. So let me know in the comments below, what have you done to stop wasting money? What do you think are good ideas to stop wasting money? And share. So we'd all like to hear how you do that. And if you want to buy my book, I'll leave the link below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me the thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of money related content. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.